Welcome to the First Customers Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Paris Vega, and today we have Alexandra Tashalova. She is a former SEMrush employee, and now she's the founder and CEO of Digital Olympus, a US-based company that has worked with clients like Vivint, G2, Wave, Finder, and Discover Cars. Alexandra, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. And one more time, thank you very much for choosing me.
Well, let's get right into it. How'd you get your first customers?
Okay. So first of all, as an agency, right, as a link building agency, our first client was G2. And that is a quite interesting story behind that. So at that time, right, Kevin Indig was actually the head of growth or something like that, head of VP at G2. And so we've been knowing each other for quite some time before that as well. And we were doing some, let's say, more like influencer marketing campaigns for some clients. And he was kind of involved in this process as a thought leader, I would say, right? Mm-hmm. And he was more or less observing, right, the way we were kind of, and the part of, those influencer marketing campaigns was also, as a part of this process, was also generating links. And he really liked, right, the way we approached this. And then he asked us whether we actually can help you too with link building. So, but I think for sure it all sounds very, very easy, very simple, right? But I think the key to success here was kind of, having the right network, right?
Right.
Back when I used to work at SEMrush, right, I had a unique opportunity to meet, the right people, right? And also, I was able also to build up my personal brand, right? Since I was, thanks to SEMrush, and I really appreciate Alec, that is one of SEMrush co-founders who trusted in me and allowed me to speak at different conferences like Brighton, so SMX and so on, representing SEMrush. And for sure, I was also investing in building up my personal brand and meeting people like Kevin. So yeah, I think it's very important to find, maybe if you want to, one more time, try to do the same, right, as I've done previously. And you want to try to build up your personal brand, right, with the help of, the right company, then it's very important to find a startup at very early stages that, wants to actually broaden their brand awareness. Because when I joined SEMrush back those days, they had only 10 people. So I was the very first person in the marketing team.
Really? Okay.
So yeah,
when was
it was
that?
a very, very, very small company. So, and as a result, right, if you show yourself as a person that can deliver things, right, that genuinely interested in the process, then the company, right, will invest in you as well. And I was really interested in delivering results, right, in launching new activities. And I'm still very practiced, and most probably my colleagues hate me because of this at Digital Olympus, because I'm always, kind of initiating new processes and suggesting, new activities and so on. So just because I love, kind of being a part of something new.
Yeah. So how did you end up landing the job at SEMrush? You said it wasn't a very big company when you joined. Is it based in the Netherlands or?
No. Back those days, it was in Russia. Everything was in St. Petersburg.
Okay.
So yeah, everything started, in my hometown, St. Petersburg, which is a very beautiful city. Sadly,
awesome.
The war actually kind of split the world, but I highly recommend coming to St. Petersburg because it's a truly beautiful, unique city, which has a
Really?
lot of, various tourist attraction places to go and so on. Yeah, so
Yeah.
everything started there. And then basically after some time, right, I moved to the Netherlands, firstly to Cyprus, then to the Netherlands and so on. And when I actually left SEMrush, right, that was 7, 8 years ago, right? It was quite some time ago. I was still based in St. Petersburg for some time after that.
Okay. All right. And how did you get connected to, well, I guess you were saying through all the networking events or the conferences, you
Yeah,
became
we were
kind
kind
of the
of doing a
voice.
lot of webinars at SEMrush. So we kind of, just because nothing was happening there, right? Everything should have we should have launched from the very beginning, right? Including such things as webinars, some social media activities, and so on. For sure, at some point, the areas of responsibilities were split across different managers. So I wasn't really the only person, right, that was delivering everything, but we were actively looking for different influencers, engaging them in different activities, which I think is one of also biggest advantages, the biggest competitive advantage that SEMrush has, thanks to those connections and network. Their brand is kind of is quite well known, I think. And whenever they
Yeah.
launch something, right, they have a very well established network through which they kind of, as a channel, right, they can actually leverage this channel.
All right. Now let's get into moving from SEM or SEMrush and how you moved into starting your own company and getting those first clients.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a quite bumpy road because you never know what's going to work well for you, right, in your situation. So I tried various marketing activities, and I tried selling various marketing activities. Back those days, I even tried to do some content marketing. And I recall that my biggest win was I was able to sell a case study or something like that for 5,000 USD. But the problem that you can't really replicate this. It was kind of, it went very well till the point when I realized that at some point I want to kind of have a stable flow of clients that are ready to pay 5,000 per coffee. But sadly, it's not so easy, right? That is the
Yeah.
problem. Selling once is kind of easy, right? But whenever you want to establish a flow, right, then you're kind
Right.
of facing that it's not so easy, right? And as I've already mentioned, right, closer to the moment when I realized that link building actually is the thing that I can at least kind of, well, I feel that I can sell, right, as a service, and I can have a stable flow of clients. And that was actually the moment when I kind of decided, right, to go with this activity. And so before that, we were kind of doing some influencer marketing campaigns, but it wasn't really going so well. And then we started doing lean building. And yeah, we started doing lean building for G2. Then we had a few other clients, some of them thanks to, G2 and Kevin's recommendations. Some of them were just kind of, they heard that we started providing those services and they were interested in learning more, and so on and so forth. But the main problem that I faced, and was somewhere in November previous year, I think that is something that you can only learn by facing it, I would say, just because I've never been kind of starting somewhere, right, entrepreneurship or something like that. So that is something that I kind of started on my own.
Okay.
And as a result, right, some mistakes, you can't really oversee them.
Right.
And so my biggest mistake was at that moment that I didn't really reconsider our pricing model at all. So we kind of started doing it like this. At the very beginning, for sure, I reconsidered it a few times because I wasn't really sure what will be the best way to approach. And then I kind of decided, okay, it works well, so I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah.
And then
What
we
is your,
faced a moment.
oh, go ahead.
No, and then we faced a moment when we discontinued being profitable just because we started to build, a lot of processes around this, improving the quality, and so on and so forth. But the pricing, right, was remaining the same.
Okay. So you started to improve the process and it became more and more complicated. So the profit went down.
More people, hiring more people, establishing, more
Yeah.
kind of,
Interesting.
some kind of additional internal and external processes around this and that particular activity. And for sure, right, more people involved, you're paying salary to more people, and then you get less profit.
Yeah. That's a really interesting point. Because you're pursuing better quality for your clients, which sounds like it's always a good thing. But yeah, if you over deliver beyond what your pricing allows for, it can end up messing you up. Okay. And so what is your current, the pricing model that you landed on that has a balance of profitability and uh, quality?
Well, at the moment, we just have quite a flat rate. So we kind of, for sure, we work on a contract basis. And, the contract is kind of starting from, normally it starts from 30,000 USD. But when it comes to just, cost per link, it's remaining the same. For content pages, it's 500 USD. For commercial pages, it's kind of 700 USD. Sometimes it's a little bit more just because some commercial pages might be very hard to pitch, but on a general note it's just kind of around the same. But we also kind of just because we understand, right, that even though the link that we deliver, they are kind of exceptional, they have very good quality and so on and so forth. The pricing model might be not so affordable, right, for some people. And we decided to launch a kind of a test. It's more like a self-service portal where you can request links and guest posts. We don't really deliver links and guest posts normally to our clients. So it's more like, a traditional email outreach, right? Whenever you kind of choose website, then you show those websites to client and then you pitch, and so on and so forth. So it's
Hmm.
kind of designed in this way. But
Okay.
since we've already built a quite big network of websites that accept guest posts, and we kind of connected with them, and we thought, like, why not to utilize those connections as well. And for sure the cost per production per guest post, when you have a very well established process, is quite low, I would say, compared to, one more time, setting up a traditional email outreach campaign and so on and so forth.
So the main service, or maybe the only service your company offers, is helping businesses with websites get backlinks from other websites, right?
Yeah, that are kind of, here the thing that the website, basically, we get links from website that, our clients want to get links organically, I would say, in the following
Right.
way. So that are the ones that you can share on your social media platform, for instance. So you are not really ashamed of those links. So they are not really the one that, you kind of say, yeah, it's kind of okay, but I don't really want to show this link to anyone.
Right. So they're all high
So
quality
there's,
links.
the ones that, you can show to anyone, and you don't really want to kind of say, yeah, those are fine, but, you don't really need to look at them precisely.
Yeah. So your company is basically link building experts. So can you give us an idea of what you consider like a high quality link, or a kind of white hat high quality way to go about getting links? Because I know it's kind of a hot topic sometimes on
Yeah,
whether or not
there are,
link
I
building
guess.
is even legit, or if it's all just spam whenever you're trying to get links intentionally instead of just letting them happen magically by being amazing, or however you're supposed to get them without pursuing them directly. Can you speak on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Well, I think first of all, you have to remember that it's like in real life, right? How many recommendations you can get. The bigger the
Okay.
network, right? The more authority you have, the more recommendations you can get. But let's imagine you don't really have this network, right? How many recommendations can you expect to get? That is the same, right, with an organic link follow, I would say, right? So if your brand, you might have an amazing brand, you might have amazing content, right? But the chances of getting a link is limited to your current network. That is very much it, right? And the
Right.
chances are also kind of limited to the fact that, okay, you have this network and this network might be extremely relevant to your content, but they might have another editorial plans and so on and so forth. So, and then the combinations of getting a link, the chances are getting low, 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 and low. So that is just math. So I think one day someone even can create the right formula so you can actually calculate based on your current traffic, based on your, I don't know, number of your subscribers, social media followers, the chance of getting an organic link at the end of the day.
Okay.
Now, as for the right links, I would say, because I think the easiest way to understand whether you are getting the right links or not, but that for sure you can't really assess it right now. If you kind of start getting the wrong links, you can't really assess it straight away. But after a few years, you can see it easily that you've been actually doing a completely, I would say, useless work when it comes to link building, and completely, you acquire completely wrong links. If your website if your website has a very good domain authority, right? Whatever you're going to call this, but it doesn't help your individual pages ranking better without any links. Because if you look at search engine results, especially if you look at very competitive search terms, the brands that have been investing for sure in different channels of marketing, not necessarily only in building, which is also very important, but they have the right backlink profile. They are able to actually rank quite well with pages that don't really have any links at all, right? For instance, Forbes, it
Right.
has the right, one more time, it gets a lot of links organically just because it's a well-known brand, but some pages, if you look precisely, right, they rank very well, but they don't really
Right.
have any links back. So that is the easiest way, right, to understand whether you've done something wrong with link building or not. But if we look at this, in kind of, if we talk about particular metrics, right? I'd say the link should come from a legit brand. So no media outlets or something like that. So that should be either a company that provides some services, either a company that, provide some tools, whatever it is, right? Services, cloud solution. Depends on your niche one more time, right?
Right.
Then the source of traffic, the organic source of traffic should match perfectly your main market, right? What are you interested in? If you want to actually, if you want to rank better in the US SERPs, right? Then the main
Okay.
traffic of SERPs should be United States, and the main
I
ratings
see.
should be, quite meaningful one. That is very much it. And for
Okay.
sure
So,
niche, yeah, for sure niche should make sense. So you should
okay.
get links from the right, the one from niche that actually belong to your niche.
Okay. So get backlinks from other websites in your same category, your topic, industry niche, and then keep it within your same country where you're wanting to rank. Okay. And then you were saying they should be like leading companies or larger brands, or is it more important
Not necessarily, they
kind of that
might be
balance
different,
of
right?
Yeah,
but
relevance
they all
or
should
importance.
should have something. They should have a brand, right? Which is very important here.
So not just a random little small blog that just links to tons of people, basically, that looks like a link farm.
Yes, exactly. Or whatever it is, it might be kind of pretending being a newspaper. There are a lot of different ways of organizing this. But at the end of the day, it lives for traffic. It doesn't live for providing some services, right? Those websites, they're kind of working as aggregator that capture traffic, right, from search engine results and then monetizing this traffic rather than providing something to users, right?
Okay, I see what you mean. So that's a higher quality site in your mind is somebody who offers something other than just listings on their own site. Okay, so like the directory sites that were popular for a long time where you're basically just ranking in Google and then you go to that website and it's another site that's just more rankings. So those are going to have less value than say
Yeah, for sure.
some
They
agency
are
that has
not
a
so
blog.
valuable.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And ideally, your link, right? But if you are talking about such website, there is no other way of getting a link there besides getting a link in their content, right? So, and that is also kind of providing some additional context to Google one more time, kind of telling, right, the search engine that you are kind of one more time a part of this niche and this content is talking about this and that is actually defining your company and the context is relevant and so on.
Okay. Could you speak to maybe some of the biggest wins that you've gotten for some of your clients? You've got some big name companies that you've worked for. What's is there like a before and after that you could share of like after using your process of getting the type of links that you think are valuable? How much growth have you seen for that company, or what kind of improvements have they seen? And you don't have to get specific if you can't, share the details
Yeah,
of a specific company,
absolutely.
but
Actually, we do have one client which is not really a big brand, and they don't really have anything beside their blog, so they don't really invest in any other channels besides their blog. So which means that the main source of their of leads for them, right, of potential clients. And they kind of they have a brand, and it's not really a well-known one, or the one that I will tell you and you will tell me like, oh yeah, I know them, because they have direct competitors. For instance, one of their direct competitors is Printful. And if I tell you
oh wow,
Printful, right, you
yeah,
kind of, oh yeah, I know Printful, right? But if I
right,
tell you Swag Drop, you're kind of, what is that? Nothing, right? But
yeah,
even though, right, they don't really have, and they don't, one more time, they don't really have any brand value, right, that they can rely on, right, to kind of outrank the competitors. But we've been working with them for more than, I think, 3 years. And since they don't really have a strong brand, they don't really receive, they might receive a few links organically just because some of their pages are ranking extremely well, right? But that is just more because, editors are looking for something in Google, right, in search engine results. And then they link back to this just because that is one of the top ranking results that they see.
right,
Now, all their backlinks, they are built by us. And the brand is called swagdrop.com. So if you go to Ahrefs, right, you kind of going to see basically 3 years of work. And I think if you look at their right organic traffic trend, which is growing month over month, and if you look actually at their pages, and we don't really build links for each and every page, so they have tons of pages that rank well thanks to their domain authority, thanks to the right link that we acquired previously, right? And If you want, I can open Ahrefs as well.
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
Because I'm
sure.
not
I'm
sure. I'm not
sorry.
sure if
Yeah,
you're. It's okay.
yeah, the brand is the right one.
Okay, I was wondering if that was
So
the right company, and I'm
yeah,
not sure if
that
your
is.
video's coming through, so that would be cool to see.
Yes. Hold on. Let me share it. Okay, here you go. So as you can see, right, here is, their traffic trend, which is kind of, they had some issue over there just because there is no longer such a thing as evergreen content, and they needed actually to rewrite some of their older posts just because they kind of, they became outdated.
Okay.
So once they rewrote them, they started actually to grow in terms of organic traffic one more time. And I think if you go right, let's go to their most meaningful backlinks, right? That is it's kind of in the legacy section, but that is my favorite report in Ahrefs. If you click
Okay.
here on this column, you will see right the most meaningful links. There is some spam that is not from us, but it's no
Okay.
follow,
I
right?
think
So we
I
can.
think it's a delay maybe in when you're browsing through Ahrefs.
Okay, what do you see right now?
The
Do you
backlink
see, yeah,
profiles, kind of
backlinks, right?
summary at the top, and then the
Yeah.
performance graph. Okay.
Uh, so you don't see the list of backlinks? Should
No.
I reshare? Okay, let me reshare my screen
Okay.
because that's exactly what I wanted to share, right?
Okay.
So do you see a list of backlinks now?
It's taking a second to load. And if you're listening to this on the audio version of the podcast, you can go over to YouTube and check out what we're looking at here on the screen. All right, it's taking just a second here. I have to fill this in with a little thinking music. So yeah, you can go ahead and talk about it. It's just taking a minute to load. It may be I've already loaded for the people actually watching, but sometimes there's a delay in our live
Yeah,
version
okay.
of it.
Okay, so basically, it's kind of right all the most meaningful links that we've built back to this website, and they all, you can take a look, they're all making sense, they're all incorporated into content, which is very important, right? And they're all on very good website that are relevant to their niche, like Single Grain Foundation, which is a B2B marketing agency. Here is HubSpot, and so on and so forth.
Oh, okay. So
So yeah.
does it have to do with your personal network again? Like, because getting customers is almost similar to getting backlinks. Like I've said this before in our agency that like getting links is similar to sales in a lot of ways.
Yes,
Um,
I agree.
okay.
I
So is it
agree. Yeah.
like an extension of your network since you've gotten all these relationships and you're kind of a known name in the, you know,
We
search
don't really
engine
use my
marketing?
name.
Okay.
We kind of, so it's not really my network. We have, I don't really build links nowadays. I used to
Right.
do that for sure when we were starting everything.
Okay.
Yeah, but for sure, right. You're right that it's kind of a network for sure. We know those editors because I couldn't imagine coming randomly to HubSpot or any other similar brand, right?
Right.
And just telling them, look, we know a wonderful, brand swag drop, right? Could you please make me a favor and link back to this beautiful page, which is actually optimized to rank perfectly well in Google. And thanks to your link, we will
Yeah.
finally reach the right results, right?
Yeah.
So could you please share your link juice with us
Right.
so we can reach our goals
Yeah.
finally, right?
Yeah. So that's
Especially
the
from a page that has, quite good rankings, right? And have already reached, a good
right.
number of referring domains.
But that's the situation I think most businesses find themselves in is they're, staring at all the big names and all the awesome, websites that some of the tools recommend getting links from. And, it'll have some of those big, high domain authority sites listed. And, they're staring at that like a mountain of impossibility of how to actually get those links. And it sounds like that's where your company steps in to be the bridge between these all these companies or brands who
Yeah,
need
but we are
those
not
links,
unique,
and then
right? There are some other, for sure,
Mhm.
similar companies that, can do quite the same, maybe with some minor or bigger, right? But on a general note, right? The way we approach link building is no longer unique. It was quite unique, like 5 years ago, and we've been the
okay,
only agency that were more or less talking about relationship-based link building and so on. But I think
okay,
now, right, with the growth of the market and with having so many players, right, very small, bigger ones, right, people kind of starting to hear more and more about that type of link building, and they have some different vendor that they can choose from, right, besides just kind of one more time going to any kind of marketplace, right, the host buying their links, and so on.
So you said relationship based link building. So again, it's an extension of networking and building those relationships with editors. It sounds like is key, so that when you do have a client that's relevant to their website, you can call them up or your team does, and you have a higher chance of getting a link.
Yeah, kind of, exactly. So we can't really, one more time, we can't guarantee anything as well, right?
Right.
Because the decision making process is happening on the side of this or that particular editor. But for sure we kind of we basically help companies to get results faster, right? So instead of just kind of and any company, right, can do this, right? There is nothing there is no magic behind this, right? It's just kind of tons of hours and hard work, right? So
Right.
you can also reach out to the same editors, build a relationship with them, right, one more time, and finding a way to show them your content, have a meaningful conversation, and so on. It just takes a lot of time
Right.
and dedication, most probably, and having the right, most probably, experience, right? Just because we kind of for sure we've been doing a lot of improvements in terms of our email outreach, because we are constantly looking for new editors, so it's an ongoing process, right? And we
Yeah.
work across various niches. So for instance, having a conversation in the travel niche is one story, right? And you can't really approach editors across different niches with the same pitch, and you can't really have the same conversations, expect the same answers from editors that are working in different niches.
How do you get leads now for your company, like your sales leads? Where do they come from mostly?
I think word of mouth, which is
Word of
very
mouth.
sad. Yeah, we are trying to fix this. We are working hard on this, but and that is quite unpredictable. So
Yeah.
I don't really want to, kind of recommend anyone being in our shoes nowadays, especially.
Yeah. Okay. So is there, all right, then what about maybe some tactics you're trying? Like, are you posting on certain social platforms more than other platforms? Are there different types of, are you doing like content on blogs, or, kind of what are some of the tactics that you're trying?
So we actually for sure we run our blog, but that is a very very long term investment. So
Right.
guys, if you're kind of waiting for short term results, short term wins, then especially if you're talking about if you target highly competitive search terms related to SEO services, well, that might take ages. But at the end of the day, it's kind of an investment, right? We
Right.
also have our own podcast. I think it works quite well. It's kind of a part of our brand awareness, because the more people, one more time, it's like with link building, the more people know you, the more people can consider your services, right? And I
Right.
understand that it's one more time, it's not for today, and it's not even for tomorrow, but maybe next year or something like that, it starts to pay off, right? Sooner or later it will start to pay off, and it will start to to work, right, as a source of new leads and so on. As more like quick wins, I would say, right? I'm kind of exploring actually the ways to scale word of mouth, by connecting with the right people that know, basically, that can recommend us, and just kind of basically finding the right incentive for them, besides just kind of, because the incentive of I will pay you a commission is not working nowadays.
Hmm.
Just because, what the point of, because you don't really know each other, right? And the person kind of thinking, okay, do I really need to invest my time in connecting someone with Digital Olympus if I don't really know the final result? Because no one can guarantee, right?
Right.
So I need to find the right incentive, most probably money, and the right words, to stimulate this process, to make this person genuinely interested,
Yeah.
right? And so that is very much it. So you just kind of pay, right, for their, you might take some coach lessons, whatever you want, a consultancy from them, whatever you want to call this, whatever they can kind of, suggest to you. And then basically, in order to investigate and in order to understand where there is an opportunity, right, to team up with them, and to basically to pitch during those consultancy services what you want from them in reality.
Okay. Do you
So
post on
yeah.
certain social platforms?
Yeah, I run my LinkedIn, but I can't
Okay.
say, because 1 year ago, for instance, whenever I was posting on LinkedIn, it was really generating leads straight away. But no, it's not
Huh.
like that nowadays. So it's like, you kind of, it's a part of brand awareness, I would say more.
Okay. So, and I've heard people say that more recently LinkedIn has changed their algorithm or something to where they're not getting as much reach. So I don't know if that may be part of
It
it,
has
but
started to work a little bit differently, I would say.
okay.
So whenever, a few months ago, I was posting something, I was getting engagement immediately.
Hmm.
Right now, it's kind of, I think I get nearly the same engagement, but with a huge delay.
Hmm.
So this means, and I started to post less just because I noticed that whenever I post too often, I kind of cut the engagement of my previous post.
Huh.
Yeah, so there is obviously a delay that is kind of, they kind of rebuild their algo, and now, right, whenever, and it's kind of taken more than 24 hours in order to collect all the engagement. And I actually noted that just because 1 week I just had no time to post it, and I noted that my post reached kind of the final engagement within 2-3 days.
Hmm. Okay. So you think that it's almost like they were limiting your account to only so much engagement. So if you posted more posts, it was just spreading out
Yeah, it's
across
just
all those
kind of,
posts.
yeah, it's just kind of cutting everything.
Huh.
I don't really know what will be. Maybe it's just because, that the best solution will be posting more, but something
Yeah.
really big, well prepared.
Yeah.
So, it's going to reach, right, more people at the end of the day, because it's kind of, I kind of feel that there are some certain milestone that your post goes through, and then it's kind of, then LinkedIn decides whether this post should be shown to more people or less.
Yeah. It seems like shorter video clips get a little more engagement. I guess that's kind of the trend across all platforms right now. Are you doing any
Yeah,
video
videos are
posts?
kind of, I
Okay.
agree.
Do you post on kind of any of the other social networks, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, anything else? Or is it just LinkedIn focus when you do post?
I don't really. Well, being honest, I have two horses, and each time I go to a stable, I think like, I want to make a video for my Instagram, right? And each time I just kind of forget about this because there is something else I need to do there. Because, the stable is very beautiful where my horses are. Everything is so beautiful there. And, whatever. I have some problems, most probably, with this kind of, well, I always feel a bit awkward whenever I need to post something about my life.
Yeah. Did you say whenever you go to the stable?
Yeah, I have two horses, two sport horses.
Oh, okay, cool. That's
Yeah,
really
so,
cool.
but and each time it was literally yesterday, I was kind of driving there. I was like, yeah, I will make a video. And my house name is Barbie. And actually, Barbie
Hey,
is
there you
kind of
go.
a hot topic right now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she's so beautiful. And I was like, I will make a joke or something like that. Ended up with nothing, zero content. Because I was kind of so tired after working two houses. I was like,
Yeah, that would have been perfect timing. There's still probably a window here with all the Barbie stuff going on. That's funny. Okay,
yeah.
it's really cool. All right. So you're doing. You guys put content on your own site. Are you using your own tactics for building links for your own business website?
We did so, but the problem that, one more time, the gap between Digital Olympus and some other brands is so big that I kind of decided to put it on pause because I haven't been seeing much traction there, and I decided to kind of reinvent things in a bit different things. So it's kind of, one more time, you can decide what you want to do. You want to invest more in the long term strategies, or you want to kind of split it, and I decided to split it a little bit. So yeah, one more time, it's more about what you want to do, because we want to also launch, our own link building Slack channel. Just because we know all those
Oh, okay.
editors, we want to kind of invite them, but we don't really want to talk much about, pitching content there and so on. We want to talk more about link building, sharing some, some knowledge there and so on. So
Okay.
more
Being
like
the
that type
thought
of a
leader,
thing.
being the thought
Hmm.
leader about link building for editors, so that okay, giving back to the
Yeah.
community that you're going to ask something from in the future.
Yeah, but it's more like, one more time, as a natural, organic way of also, recruiting new editors from one side, from other side, also a natural way of becoming more visible for potential clients, right? So
Right.
yeah, just because, nowadays it's very, very hard to create engagements on literally any social media platform, right? So
Yeah.
I've been thinking, why not to take, we have 1,000 editors, right? And if we kind of, invite them to the channel, the engagement will happen organically.
So that's how many editors you have in your company's network is about 1,000.
Yeah, a bit more, I think something like that. Not
Wow.
all of them are extremely active, I have to say, right? But at least maybe half, a bit more than half of them are quite active.
And do you run any paid advertisements for your company to get customers?
No, we've never tried, but I don't really believe much in this because, I mean, you in order to be successful, right, with paid channels, you need to have a very good sales team.
Okay.
I think it's kind of, and also you should have a quite big budget because it requires a lot of experiments. You can't really push
Right.
the button start and then kind of waiting for the clients because they're going to, start sending you, their inquiries and so on. So I think, and whenever I talk with potential clients, I mean, at least the one that we have, their decision making process is more based on what they see in, what they see across social media platforms, what other marketers are recommending them, rather than looking at paid results or something like that.
Yeah. All right. So not running any ads, you're investing in content with the podcast. Where do you publish your podcast? Is it on YouTube as well, and what's the name of the podcast so people can check it
It's
out?
called Serves of the Week. It's on YouTube.
Okay,
So
we'll put the link to
basically,
it in
I
the
can
show
share with
notes.
you a link to it. Just give me a second.
Okay, and
So the idea is pretty simple. We just invite right guests with which we can discuss SEO related topics, I would say, right? And that is very much it. So I just trying to find, here you go. So it's our channel. Here is the link. Here you go.
Digital Olympus. Okay,
Yeah, and then you can see,
SERPs of the week.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, started to play. Okay, yeah. I'll share the screen real quick so people can get a look. But it's Digital Olympus is the username on YouTube, and little preview. So each week you do a SERPs of the week episode
Yeah, each 2 weeks. It's on a
every
bi-weekly
2 weeks.
basis. But
Okay,
yeah.
cool. And it looks like you have, so Kevin Indig was on an episode. And what does the podcast cover?
We are talking about we either talk about some particular research terms, right, and trying to understand why this or that website is ranking and so well, or we just talk about the most interesting things that our guests have recently seen in search engine results. So for instance, the upcoming episode will be about the new way that Google, kind of introduced, right, search engine results, and we will be talking about what we can expect from this, right, and what will be the next steps, and so on.
Okay, that's cool. I'm gonna check that out for sure. Get a little SEO insights. All right. And does this match up with like a blog post or something like that on your site, or is this kind of independent content that you just put on YouTube?
It's just independent at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, but we think about creating a separate section on our website. We've been waiting for a good number of episodes, right, in order to create a separate page. By the way, I absolutely forget about our own conference. So we have also our
Oh,
own offline conference, right? And we will
okay.
do it. There was we put it on hold for a few years. There was a combination of COVID. Then we had an online edition and so on. So that was kind of a lot of back and forth. But right now we are preparing the new offline edition here in the Netherlands, and
Okay.
so
What's
we
that conference
wanna.
called?
That is a good question because we are trying to brainstorm the new name because it was just called Digital Olympus Conference, but
Gotcha.
I want to do something like in terms of a combination of on-page and on-page SEO. So where those two elements they kind of meet, and so people can learn about two sides of SEO at the same time, because I think it's quite important not only to talk about on-page SEO or not only about off-page SEO, because they are interconnected, right? So you can't really split them, because if you are going to rely only on links, nothing will happen,
Hmm.
right? And if you're going to rely solely on content, right? And for sure, if you're not Amazon, right? But that is a separate story. But if you're just kind of a small brand and you just kind of try to nail your on page SEO and expecting to see some solid results, then most probably it's not going to happen,
Yeah.
just because your brand is not really well known and Google doesn't want to get priority to, I would say, to content pages of websites that are not really, that search engine is not really sure in terms of accuracy, and whether this particular vendor can provide the right content to users to solve their problems, because that is the problem of, authority on a general note.
Last episode of the First Customers podcast, we had Ali Schwanke on, and she focuses on posting YouTube videos. And for her, it's like a big source of lead generation,
Mm-hmm.
like 1,000 leads or something from just posting really niche videos. Have you seen any leads come in from your YouTube channel yet, or is it just more focused on that long-term brand awareness at this point?
No, it's just for long-term brand awareness, and we don't
Okay.
really try to do something there, which which I think for sure is possible. But if you kind
Mhm.
of type in any link building related search query, you will see, videos like of branding and similar guys. I mean, it's not really a new niche, right? It's
Mhm.
not, the one that you can enter easily,
Right, for
because
sure.
a lot of people have started to generate content, related to
Right.
link building, you know 10 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. This is a really cool topic. I know it's critical to all of the businesses that live on the internet, which is pretty much most businesses these days have some kind of online presence. So real quick, to close out the show, why don't you give the reason why companies should reach out to Digital Olympus and work with you guys?
Good question. I think, one more time, it all comes down to what kind of links are looking for. But if you're looking for links that, you wanna then to use as a solid foundation for your future online success, for your future rankings, and you really want to start ranking better for pages that don't really have any links at all, right? Then I think we are the right vendor to help you, and to guide you through the process of acquiring links, and to help you with acquiring those links for sure.
Cool. And we'll have links in the show notes to your company and
Thank you.
things we've mentioned here today. So, Alexandra, thank you so much for making time for us today.
Thank you very much, Paris, for having me. It was a pure pleasure being here today with you.
And everybody listening, thanks for tuning in. And we hope to see you next episode on the First Customers podcast. Later.